This is Need magazine, and my husband and I, Kelly, created this. And we were visiting a shelter in Russia that was rescuing little girls from the sex trade. And we were so impressed by this, and we were so touched by meeting all these little girls, that we thought, how can we get people to feel the way we do right now, this minute, to give their $100 or to donate their talents or time? So we came up with the concept of Need magazine. Yes, we did sell all of our possessions, and we did quit our high-paying jobs in Finland, and we started. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Robondo Community Project USA, which was started by a man who thinks he's about 70 years old. He's educating almost 1,000 orphans right now. The majority of them are orphans. He's created jobs within the community. He's created community councils. Oh my gosh, I gotta go faster. And he's blind. Okay, so this is about displaced people from the earthquake in Pakistan of 2005. And after the tsunami happened and all of these different things happened, everybody was so worn out that here this huge thing happens and nobody really paid attention to it. This is about girls who have been rescued from the commercial sex trade. 37 girls were rescued in one day in this one particular operation as young as 5 years old. So that's with the International Justice Mission. And these are all stories that are in this first issue, and please grab one on your way out. This is a boat building project put on by the American Refugee Committee after the tsunami in Thailand. And it's so amazing. They use local materials, they use local craftsmen, they use local builders, and they worked with the government to make sure that fishery was sustainable in the region before they built any boats. They went to the government and said, how many boats can we build? This is Mercy Ships, and Mercy Ships is amazing. They go into communities where there's no health care whatsoever. They pull up their big, huge hospital ship, and they go out to the regions and they say, we can help you. And here's a before and after of a man who has a tumor that's been removed by Mercy Ships, and he can now speak and eat again, and he will not die because he was starving and suffocating to death. This is Right to Play. Joey Cheek, famous speed skater from the US, gave all of his Olympic winnings to Right to Play, which is an organization that teaches kids through sport conflict resolution skills and all different things in refugee camps. It's about education in Afghanistan. Girls can finally go to school. And here is a school in Afghanistan. So it's a little bit different than we think, but it's a dream for these girls to be able to finally attend school after being locked up in their homes for so many years during the reign of the Taliban. Down south after Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, there were so many amazing stories of volunteers. We had to go down there and get some of them. We heard about people that stopped in an aid organization just to use the bathroom and never left. We heard other stories of people who quit their jobs, sold everything they had, bought tents, and went down there. And they're living in horrible conditions. We had the privilege of interviewing Jimmy Carter for our dialogue department in the premiere issue, and he was absolutely amazing. He said, no matter what I've done to volunteer or give my time, I've always gotten so much more out of it than I've ever put into it. And we find that that's so true. Now we come to issue 2, which is long awaited, about a couple months overdue, but we finally have it, and I do have a few copies, and after you get this issue, please subscribe, because subscribers are really keeping us alive right now to be able to tell these stories. We already know of surgeons that are volunteering on Mercy Ships just because they read this article. We already know of people donating. Now this is a story about the Hunger Project, and the Hunger Project is an amazing organization that provides sustainable development projects throughout regions in Africa, Asia, and they go to the community, and the community actually develops the programs. So they're fabulous. This is Meg, and they're all female demining team in Cambodia. Most of the women on this team are actually widows. Their husbands have been killed by landmines. And now here they are removing landmines. They have a 100% safety rate. And it's just an unusual project that women don't usually remove landmines. Sorry, go ahead. This is Mary Jo Copeland, right here in Minneapolis. She's been serving the urban poor for more than 22 years. She started by filling up her trunk with food and going out and feeding homeless people. Now she has 3 different buildings here in Minneapolis. She has a transitional housing program. She has a food shelf. It also has a soup kitchen and a free store and also a teen center. Next story, one of my favorites, is about former child soldiers in northern Uganda. We don't often get to hear about them, but this particular picture, the photographer actually set his camera down when the nurse took the bandages off. of this little boy's leg, and he's a former child soldier. Look at him, he's about 9 years old. So the photographer set his camera down, and the little boy said, "What's wrong?" And the photographer said, "Well, I've never seen a bullet wound before." And the little boy said, "What? What do you mean you've never seen a bullet wound before?" So they're kind of like iPods for them. Even if you don't have one, you've for sure seen one before. And this is about 5 little children who came here. They're orphans from El Salvador. Friends of the Orphans and NPH brought them here to have corrective eye surgery. These kids would have never gotten a job, probably would have never gotten married, had they not had their eyes fixed. They just had crossed eyes. It's a very simple outpatient procedure. But it was a collaborative effort that brought these kids here. And Wings of Hope. Wings of Hope does so much all over the world using planes and healthcare. This is in the Masai region in northern Tanzania, and basically they don't have a clinic, they just go to a region every 2 weeks. They hear stories about people actually carrying other people on their back to get treatment for 10 miles because they know Wings of Hope is going to be there, and they know that that person can get medical treatment. And this is Colombia. Colombia has the second largest internally displaced persons population in the world next to Sudan. And nobody knows about it, but the conflict there that's been going on for decades has displaced millions of people. And now people are building peace communities. And the Colombian people have said, "We won't take part in your war, get out of our communities." And here's the World Bank, or I'm sorry, oh my gosh, this is Project Red. Project Red has been a great collaborative process, and they've donated all of their funds to the Global Fund, and they're helping kids with education and passing out antiviral drugs and education, all kinds of different things, just because of Product Red, because you bought a red iPod or a red t-shirt from Gap. And this is, we interviewed the vice president of MTV, and he is heading up their Think programming. And they've been doing so many things, trying to get youth involved in all kinds of great projects all over the world. And it's really working, it's really inspiring youth to become involved in all types of different things. And